mighty, just letting it all hang out. Oh, she's a brick house. I like lady stack, that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Oh, she's a brick.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the Alive and Social Network, Apples to Apples is back by popular demand.
Well, it's either popular demand or your mom demanded we get it out of the house. I'm not sure. One or the other, but we're back.
We're back, but they did try and keep us out. They did lock the door on us a little bit.
Yeah, but we're in.
I'd try and keep us out, too.
Just before we get started, I'm going to try to power through this. I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat developed today. I've been doing a lot of karaoke over the last couple of weeks.
Karaoke.
No, karaoke.
Is that different?
Well, I do karaoke. You might do karaoke, but I do karaoke.
Okay.
And over the last couple of weeks, it's been there's been a lot of demand.
Was there a certain song that really pushed
yeah.
it over the edge?
Yeah.
Would you like to share? Maybe a line or two?
Well, Word Up by Cameo.
But that doesn't seem very stressful on the vocal cords.
Really? Listen to it.
I've heard it. I was expecting more of like a, maybe an Earth, Wind, and Fire song with just a little too
Fantasy.
much.
That was my encore.
We'll see. I'm sure that's what really did it.
I think either way. Well, it was the constant. I would have to go up and do Word Up, and then I'd have to do it again, and it was 4 or 5 times a night.
I understand. I guess I'll just have to carry us, but that's usual. So
yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's move on.
So over the weekend, there was a Major League Baseball had its Midsummer's Classic, as they like to call it, the All-Star Game, All-Star Weekend out in Cincinnati. Can
I interrupt a second?
Sure.
I know you're young and probably party a little bit too much, but I don't know if Tuesday is really a weekend day.
Well, it's called All-Star Weekend.
Because Monday's the home run hitting contest / celebrity game / whatever, and then Tuesday's the All-Star Game. So I don't know. Usually Saturday and Sunday would be the weekend, but that's fine.
I don't work for the MLB, and they're the ones
So it's your weekend.
Well, the MLB advertises it as All-Star Weekend, and I'm going to call it as such.
All right, well, let's go with All-Star Weekend on Monday and Tuesday. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
On Monday, we had the Home Run Derby. And before we get into that and its new format and everything, and because I didn't get the chance to see it, I want to hear your thoughts. Something to share. You may have seen this. Bryce Harper was leading the league in home runs at the break. Did not participate. Do you know why?
Why he didn't participate?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't busy because he was there over the weekend, Monday, Tuesday. I have no idea.
Well, if you recall, in 2013, he was the runner-up.
Right.
And do you remember who his pitcher was? Who threw to him in the Home Run Derby?
Sandy Koufax?
His father.
Okay.
And his father suffered a tragic rotator cuff injury snowboarding. And so he said he's not going to do it because his father couldn't throw in batting practice.
His father couldn't muster up enough strength to throw it 10 miles an hour?
He had rotator cuff surgery.
When?
Like recently.
Oh.
That's why he couldn't. That's why Bryce Harper chose not to participate.
Well, that's weird. Interesting excuse.
I thought you'd find that interesting.
That is very interesting.
Fitting.
Yeah, that is strange. So, well, you know what? We'll get back to the All-Star Game, but I was just thinking of something. And in our 3-hour production meeting with Wyatt, we didn't cover this part. It's not a pet peeve, but it's sort of a, I don't know what you would call it. Not a warning. It's just a please stop. To all baseball players, pitching coaches, managers, and especially you idiot catchers with your mask on, when you go to the mound, don't cover your mouth with your glove. I can't watch it anymore. No one cares. If somebody can detect what you're saying, get it down from TV to wherever in the 3 seconds, then you know what? They should go for it. And I thought about this too. There's probably been 12 million baseball games before 2 years ago when some moron went out there for the first time and put the glove over his mouth. Somehow they managed to get through all that. I feel better now that I got it. It's not really a pet peeve, but it's just, please, you look stupid. Don't do it.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Well, oh, wait. I got one more, and then we'll get back to the All-Star game.
Okay.
For all you Little League coaches, in-house coaches, wannabe coaches of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, so on. When you're at third base, no one came to watch you guys give signs. I've coached, unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of baseball. I know no one's coming to watch me give signs. So when your batter's got an 0-2 count and there's nobody on base, I don't know what sign you could give them. Swing if it's close. So I'm asking you nicely to stop because the games are probably extended 15 more minutes. Now, yes, it sounds like maybe it's a little petty issue of mine, but I do feel better now. All right, let's get back to the All-Star game.
All right. So as I said, I
no
did not,
comment on that? Nothing?
I was gonna let you go there.
Okay, go ahead.
You seem to have very strong feelings about those two things.
What's been bothering me
a
a lot lately?
I don't want to barge in. I just wanted to let you get that off your chest and out there.
Okay, thank you.
I agree. I do agree.
Really?
On both things. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because I've watched.
Is that a sign you just gave me? What was that sign?
What sign?
Oh, no, Wyatt just gave me a sign. I don't know what that meant. It was some finger, but go ahead.
So, the home run derby.
Yep.
We'll talk about that for a short second.
Okay.
The winner, Todd Frazier.
Right.
Cincinnati's, well, not Cincinnati's own. He plays for the Reds. He's from New Jersey. Was able to pull it off for the hometown fans. It's always exciting for them.
Yep.
I didn't have the chance to watch it. I was in the car. We had the new time-based format, if you want to call it that. I've heard nothing but positive things about it. People seem to have liked it.
I think it was probably a better format. It just the time they did sort of explain before it started how you got extended time, but they never seemed to say at the time. Like depending on the distance, you'd add 30 seconds or 45 or a minute or something. But you would have thought while they did it, maybe this is nitpicking a stupid home run hitting contest. But they after it was done, they'd say, "Oh, he's got 30 seconds of bonus time." Well, you'd think they would have said at the time he hit it 420. Oh, he just got extended, whatever.
I see what you're saying.
It's nitpicking, I understand, but it seemed to be more popular.
What I like about it is it's no longer people chasing a number. It's
Right.
like you actually get to see. I'm trying to think of
it's like the golf.
who the final matchup was. It was Frazier and was it not?
It was so memorable we don't remember.
I didn't watch it for the. Was
Oh,
it Peterson? Jock Peterson?
yeah, it
maybe?
was the guy from the Dodgers.
Yeah, Peterson. It's like actually Frazier versus Peterson.
Who's 12 years old, by the way.
Well, he looks like he's 20. He's 20. He looks like he's 12.
He's
He doesn't wear a
20.
shirt under his jersey. It looks a little goofy.
He doesn't have hair on his chest either.
Exactly. That's why
the
it
goofy
looks.
part.
That's why it looks goofy.
Yeah.
He does look 12. He's got that weird haircut too, which doesn't help. But I like how it's it's a head to head thing. Like you said, it's like kind of like a golf playoff. It's
Right.
not all right. Can he hit 12 this round? And the time thing it adds another element. I think you do technically have to wait till the ball hits the ground, and you get like one timeout. But
See, I didn't know that part.
I watched just the highlights and not a single if it was me. I'm getting as many swings in as I can, but they never did. So I'm assuming.
I don't know if they had to or they were just tired, but
they do get a timeout. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a cool. People kind of rag on the home run derby. I think it is the one. I will say, and I think most baseball fans would agree with me. It's probably the one day of the year baseball fans miss steroids.
Right.
You do miss the days when every ball went 450 feet because guys were.
I don't think baseball fans really cared that they were on steroids.
I didn't.
I mean,
it may not be popular.
I don't think the Cub fans, because it was the one time they'd been good, cared that Sammy Sosa.
My roommate at school, Jack Miller. Shout out if you ever listen to this. A huge Cubs fan, and at school we were talking right after Torrey Hunter or Kevin Garnett came back, one of the two. I asked my friends. I was like, those are like the two idols from my childhood. It was like Kevin Garnett and Torrey Hunter. That was Minnesota sports, and like Randy Moss or whoever you want to throw in there. I asked him if you could have anybody come back to your team, like the end of their careers for a year or two, who would it have been?
Harry Carey?
He said Sammy Sosa. He was like, I know he was, he did steroids.
Yeah,
he was like, he was the guy.
I think the only if they're all on steroids.
Well, if you just made it okay. If you just said, you know what, fine, do it.
None of us would care.
And people are like, it'd be too many home runs. Well, move the fences back 20 feet. It wouldn't be that.
There wouldn't be that many. It'd be the same guys maybe hitting more, but if you're a home run,
Bryce Harper would hit 70 instead of 50 or whatever it might be if he did. But I never, I understand you couldn't do it, so it was cheating.
I mean, Nick Punto wasn't going to start hitting 40 home runs.
Exactly, and I understand you couldn't do it, so it was cheating. But it's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have really cared if people were doing it from the beginning. I think it's the fact that no one did it. There's rules against it. People did it, got caught, and now it's like, I will say though, I do enjoy like a 4-2, 3-1, whatever baseball game, and you don't really get those if everybody's on steroids.
No, I'm not pining for steroids. I'm just saying I don't think people really cared. Now, granted, it was cheating, and then when you get caught cheating,
I don't think
there's
people
the stigma.
I don't think people care they did steroids. I think people care that they cheated.
I mean, no one cares that the NFL is on steroids.
That's true.
No one really cared that Tiger Woods was on steroids until he started getting hurt.
That's not technically proven yet.
No, that's my theory. We can talk about that later. All right, let's get back to the game.
On the subject of cheating, we might as well go there before we talk too much about the actual game. They did a thing before the game called the Franchise 4. It was every team's 4 best players from their history. The Twins were Tony Oliva, Kirby Puckett, Harmon Killebrew, and Rod Carew.
This guy was before your time, but I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Bombo Rivera.
No. Well, I have heard of him.
I think he got screwed. I think him and Disco Dan Ford. There's some names from the past. They might have. Go ahead, though.
We can debate those 4. We can debate the 4 after this, but I want to talk about one thing quick first.
And that reference was for probably 2 people that will understand, but go ahead.
That's probably the 2 people that listen, though.
Yeah.
We can debate them in a second, because I actually do have some things to say about the whole thing. I thought it was kind of cool. Anyways, it was in Cincinnati. They brought the 4 Reds players out. Don't remember exactly. I do remember who the other was. Johnny Bench, obviously. Yep. Arguably greatest catcher of all time, I would say so. Joe Morgan, who got old fast. I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, he was doing games. He was like he was Sunday Night Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
He was the commentator. And now all of a sudden he was like walking out there with a cane looking like he wasn't even going to make it to the pitcher's mound. He got old fast, which is kind of sad because I actually did kind of like him. But I know he had his fair share of issues, I think, with the company. Barry Larkin, which was an interesting one, but when you think about the Reds, he was big for them. He played.
The Reds had a lot of good players.
I know that was a tough.
Dave Concepcion, again, you wouldn't know. He was the shortstop before.
I think they had to get someone who was a little recent, and it was fan voted. So you have a whole generation of fans who Barry Larkin was the guy.
No, Barry Larkin was good.
And the 4th, everybody's favorite man to hate was Pete Rose. Now, I think me and you kind of agree on Pete Rose and how we feel on him, but I still think it's worth talking about the whole. They just found out more bets he did, and I think he doesn't quite deserve all the flack he gets from the betting thing.
Well, here's the problem: he 100%. There's no way around it. Broke the rules.
He did.
So if you go strictly black and white, breaking the rules, you'd probably have to get rid of a lot of other Hall of Famers that we just don't know about. Mm-hmm. But if you're really in the scheme of how he broke the rules, he didn't cheat the game. He didn't take steroids. He didn't use pine tar. He bet on himself, basically. He bet on his own teams. Now, as now it turns out, and I don't think this is a bombshell, that he bet on other games, but it had nothing to do with him.
Well, and it's not like you said, it's not like shoeless Joe Jackson betting on himself to lose and then throwing games. He bet on himself to win and his own team to win. And it's not like and it is yet to be proven that the other games he bet on he had any influence over. So it's not like he was like paying people off to throw these games. And I get it, he broke the rules, but I don't think it's fair of MLB to play like judge and jury here and say, oh, those guys that did steroids, like, if they get voted in, they can get voted in, but Pete Rose, because he bet on himself, is banished.
Well, if one guy that did steroids gets into the Hall of Fame, then they have to immediately put Pete Rose in. Because Pete Rose did not do anything to improve his ability in the game of baseball.
No.
So if one of those guys, if it's Barry Bonds, McGuire, Clemens, and I don't care if they were sorted, it was, even if you're getting accused of it, you've done it. I know that's a broad statement, and
yeah, they don't just throw out.
Yeah,
he might have done.
It just so happens that now every single person that's been accused, it turns out, except for maybe Clemens, still will go down and not admit it. But
a quick 30-second thing about Roger Clemens. I think it's Roger Clemens. I want to check and make sure. I always get him and Kurt Schilling confused because I think it's Kurt Schilling now that I think about it, but I always get him confused.
Kurt Schilling was the guy with the bloody sock.
No, I know who they both are.
Well, then what are you confused for?
Which one of them does the announcing now for baseball?
Yes, that's Schilling.
It's Schilling, right?
Yeah.
It's him and Kruk, and then whoever other guy they throw with them,
Yeah.
right? Those two guys, Kruk and Schilling, are the best baseball announcing pair I have. What I watched, listened, whatever you want to say, in a long time. Because Kruk was like a career 300 hitter, I think. Kurt Schilling is probably maybe is he in the Hall of Fame yet? I don't know.
No.
But he was great. He's a couple Cy Youngs. Those two go back and forth.
Right.
And they don't, to step on each other's toes. Clement or Schilling. God, see, I confuse them. Schilling talks about the pitchers. Kruk talks about the batters, and they talk about the game in general together. It is fun to listen to those guys talk about baseball, which is tough.
So who are the two best football announcers?
Oh God,
Gruden's pretty good.
I love Gruden.
Tirico's just all right. Well, then who's the best play-by-play guy? And you can't say Anthony LaPanta or Dick Bremer.
Can I say Paul Allen?
Paul Allen's pretty good.
He is pretty good.
Well, you got Jim Nance, who's actually not bad.
Yeah, he bugs me though.
Well, Joe Buck is five.
Joe
times.
Buck is worse.
Yeah. Tirico's just kind of. Chris Berman's time is up. I don't mean to be mean.
No, you're right.
I mean, I don't think he's going to.
Al
die.
Michaels, you big Al Michaels guy.
Al Michaels is pretty good.
I'd probably have to go Al Michaels. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not.
Why aren't you happy about it?
Because I don't think he's like not a football guy.
Well, no.
I like the guys
maybe
that
I shouldn't have said
are football guys.
Maybe I shouldn't have said football because these guys we named do everything. I mean, Joe Buck does.
So, I think Tirico is better at NBA than he is at NFL.
Yeah, but now they're doing golf and wearing suits and ties. But we talked about that last.
They're wearing suit and ties this morning.
Yeah, I can't deal with that. But I think Jim Nance, and I'm not a real fan of his, might be the best all-around announcer. Maybe.
Yeah, he might be. I don't think you're gonna get. Gruden is by far my favorite though. He is the best.
But the best announcer ever in anything was Mean Gene Okerlund. But
well, yeah, of course. I might throw Jim Ross back at you, but
oh yeah, Jim Ross was pretty good.
He was fun.
So where were we?
All-Star game.
Distracted.
All-Star
Pete
game.
Rose. So I think we do
Rose.
agree. I think Pete. You know what? I can't say you should be in the Hall of Fame because rules are rules.
Rules are rules.
But if one of those guys gets in, they have to put him in.
I will say, I was watching his interviews. He does not. He's kind of. I think you said this even. He is a bitter old man. He does have that one commercial that's kind of funny, where he's like walking around the hall. It's the Skechers commercial, and his wife, who looks a little young for him, pops his head out. Her head. I was like, Pete, you can't be in the hall. He's like, not at home.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty funny commercial.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that one.
Well, I think he needs the money. He'll say anything at this point.
Yeah, well, he got his time to shine for the All-Star game in Cincinnati, which I think he deserved. But the next thing I want to talk about at the All-Star game was, and I'm going to use this phrase on purpose because of this show. It was clear at the All-Star game when you looked at the rosters, it is not your father's MLB anymore. There was a ton of guys who were like 25 and under more.
Oh, right.
That in this game.
I didn't really understand where you're going with that.
Well, here's what I'm going to understand now.
But it's not your father's, meaning me.
Well, it's just.
How far back are we going?
It's an expression.
Right, but when you say your father,
Okay, I'm going to list off a bunch of guys.
My dad or yours?
Well,
because it goes, but then it would depend on how far back you're going.
There was a ton of under the age of 25. I'm going to list off all these guys are under 25.
Okay,
which means they are within 4 years of me. Like how
long
these
is
guys.
This going to take?
It shouldn't take too long.
Okay, because I'll be back when you're done listing them.
Okay, Bryce Harper, Trout, Giancarlo Stanton. He was hurt, but he was in it. Rizzo, Altuve, Correa, Nolan Arenado, Sal Perez, Chris Bryant, Jock Peterson, Manny Machado, Bumgarner, Garrett Cole, Sonny Gray, Michael Wacha, Carlos Martinez, all under 25.
But can I just say something?
And all All-Stars.
Well, actually, I'm going to say it anyways, whether you say I can or not. These guys weren't even alive when my father's baseball, so of course it's not my father's baseball. These guys weren't even.
I'm not talking
born.
about it's just an expression. I didn't literally mean your.
So you're saying, just to clarify, there's a lot of younger guys now.
Yes, that's what the expression means.
Now okay, got it.
I need you to not take everything quite so literally.
Right, I
It's
apologize.
just an expression. Above them are a ton of other young guys who didn't make the team, who probably will in a year or two.
Right.
You don't hear about. All you hear about now is like the next prospects coming up, and I think it's an interesting time for baseball. This little kind of transition period and almost handing the game over to all these kind of young players.
So
Jeter's gone. A-Rod's on his last leg.
Jeter died?
He's just not playing baseball anymore.
You said he was gone.
At the ESPYs, he did say he doesn't watch baseball anymore. He says he's.
That's a lie.
I thought so too.
Once in a while he has to.
He said sometimes
He owns something called the Players Tribune.
It's a publishing company.
It's his. He owns it.
Yeah.
Where these guys can say what they want. But let me ask you a question on this. So are you contending that the players today, these young guys, are better than the players from before?
No.
Oh, I would. I would contend that.
Well, again,
I think if Harmon Killebrew played, he'd be 110. So that
he'd
would
have
be
some
fair.
problems.
Yeah, but if Harmon Killebrew in his day played today, I think he might hit a few home runs, but I don't know that he could hang. I think the athletes today are bigger, stronger, better.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, in any sport.
Yeah.
Which is, but I don't think it's fair to compare. I wasn't saying this to compare them to
Okay. Well,
people 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever.
while we're on the subject about old, new, and this might be, I don't know if it's controversial, because it's really, what I'm about to say isn't that, but it's, you'll probably disagree. Willie Mays' catch, average.
See,
Average at best. I've seen five times a week a high school kid makes a catch like that. He ran back for a ball. He didn't dive. He didn't run into a wall. He had plenty of room, and he stuck his glove out. And you played center field. I played center field. Better than you played center field. That's not a hard...
Again,
Really, it's not about
like
me.
you said,
It's not about me.
the players today are better than the players of old.
Well, you're old, too. You're done.
I'm not. I'm half as old as you are, though. Actually, I'm younger.
So there are-
I'm younger than the guys I'm talking
Okay,
about,
let me
which further proves my point.
Let me explain something. There's exceptions to every rule.
Okay.
So
Well, this isn't one
the
of them.
teacher was better than the student. But it's not about us. That catch, average.
I have two things to say. I'll keep it short because we have other things to talk about. One, I just want to. I think it's important to recognize. Yeah, maybe the whole over-the-shoulder thing isn't the toughest thing in the world.
Well, that's what they're based on.
But you have to think about how far he had to go to make that catch. At the old Polo Grounds, which is where that catch was made, center field is 450 feet.
So what?
That's like if insert center think about Houston. Think about Houston.
Right?
To center field there, I know it's up a hill, is like 430. He has to run 20 more feet than to the top of that hill and then make the catch on the run.
Really? Here's the fatal flaw to that. He can run 20 more feet. The other stadiums, you'd run into the wall.
Okay, but you know how it's yeah, he can, but it's still not like an easy thing to do. Just because he has the room doesn't mean it's like everybody was doing
Okay,
it.
I-
Clearly, everybody wasn't doing
Let me
it.
ask you
That's
a
why it makes
question.
it so amazing.
Let me ask you a question. I would say, conservatively, Willie Mays is probably having a better career than Aaron Hicks. You don't think Aaron Hicks could run another 15 feet if he had to catch a ball?
50. It's 50 feet more.
You don't think Aaron Hicks could run another 50 feet to catch a ball? I don't get it. It's
I think-
not, to me, they showed, the only reason I'm saying is they showed it the other night. I think it was average.
Every other baseball, I don't want to say historian because it's not the right word. Even fan to a point would say that is the greatest catch ever. And
They're
so
idiots.
I think
They're stupid.
so. You're right, and everyone else is wrong.
Well, in this case, I guess.
Okay.
No, we all have our opinions. I think if they have to hang on to something. Willie Mays had a great career, but that catch, wait a second, just happened again. I'm sure somewhere that catch just happened.
I have never seen a catch I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen that catch twice ever, personally.
Well,
And
they talk
whenever
about Willie
it
Mays-
happens, it's an unbelievable catch.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nowadays their guys are diving all over the place, running. Ken Griffey, Torrey Hunter, Kirby Puckett made catches better than that all the time. For the time, it was a great catch. Plus, it was black and white. We don't really know how far you ran. It could be
Black and white has
distorted.
nothing to do with distance.
It could be distorted.
Well, they have measurement.
All right, you know what? I made my point.
Their tape measures don't change. Like, it was still 450 feet 50 years ago
but
or whenever that
you
happened.
couldn't get a clear picture. Now in high
It
def...
doesn't matter.
In
You can
high
still
def,
know how far away the fence is.
In high def, you would have realized he wasn't even running that fast.
Okay. Right.
Maybe it was windy and the ball hung up. I'm just telling you that catch... In fact, tonight, there'll be a game, and I'm going to say, see, look at that catch was better than Willie Mays.
Okay.
Now, if you want to just go by the mystique and hang on to that for Willie's sake, I appreciate that. That's fine.
He was voted one of the 4 living legends of baseball at the All-Star game. It was him, Hank Aaron, Johnny Bench, and Sandy Koufax, I think.
Well, okay, I hope it wasn't because of the catch. I mean, he did do some other good
Well,
stuff.
no, I know. I just figured we were talking about him. I'd bring.
So he was one of the 4. Oh, that's right. He was one of the 4.
It was Mays, Aaron, Koufax, and Bench. Which
I
Johnny
don't know.
Bench was like the greatest catcher of all time. He's probably not one of the 4 best living players.
There might be catchers today that are better than him. Again,
But I understand, like, if you want to just look at raw talent, probably. But you have to look at the numbers he put up. Because, like you said,
right.
if everyone was worse, that means he was worse too. Like, in comparison to players now, and he still put up the numbers he did.
I know.
So I think when you look at the numbers of what he did at a position like catcher, you can't dispute that.
No, I'm not. I think it's when you have this conversation. Now the catch is easy to see that it wasn't that great, but when you're comparing, what's the word I'm looking for? Not centuries. When you're comparing
decades.
When you're comparing players of old,
Generations.
Thank you. The karaoke has gotten to me, but when you're comparing generations, it's tough to make the comparison because there are different. People today they have better weights. They have better. You can get bigger, stronger. There's supplements that are legal. They take better care of themselves. Mm-hmm. So it is hard to make that comparison when you're talking that. I'll give you that. What was the point of all this?
I don't know. You brought up Willie Mays.
Well, because I saw the catch and I wanted to get your take on it because
I think there's a reason that everyone, except for you.
Don't say everyone. You don't know.
I'd say 90% of people, if you ask them what like the best catch in Major League Baseball ever was, they'd probably be like, "Oh, it was the Willie Mays catch."
You know what? I know a way to settle this. When we leave here, we're going to go to a field, and I'm going to make that same catch.
I'm going to make you run to 450 feet. Then
that's he didn't run 450. He didn't start at home and run to the
I'm going to
outfield.
but he started at like a normal distance and had to run to 450 feet. I'm going to
to 450 feet. I mean, it sounded like he started at home and hit the ball
you know
and
what
said
meant.
go.
Yeah, I figured you'd know what I was talking about when I said.
I think that was Tom Cruise trying to call in.
There's another one of those coming out. You know that? He's just really milking that.
Is he in it?
Of course he's in it. So is someone else famous.
All right, well, we can move on.
I just think
I'm sure. No, I
need to give the. I don't know. You know what? If you can make that catch, I will go out there and hit you the ball because that means I get to watch you run like
I've seen
100 feet
15-year-olds
and try and make that catch.
Make catches that good.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree.
All right, well, that's fine.
On that note, we're going to calm down, recollect ourselves a little bit. Well, you can return Tom's phone call. I'm not so sure what he wants, but maybe he wants you in the movie or something.
I don't think so. Maybe he wants me to sing the theme song.
Are there any words?
No.
I didn't think so.
Or how it...
But we'll let you return Tom's phone call. I'm going to try and calm down after the Willie Mays thing.
I apologize if I upset you.
You did. I think you upset a lot of people. But we're going to send it to break. This is Apples to Apples.
Hey, this is Terry.
And Tracy.
We are going to be starting a new podcast here in Minneapolis called Eat This, Twin Cities. Why don't you tell everybody what that actually means?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a weekly show on food, drink, music, events, and just other randomness. Anything great that's going on in the Twin Cities.
Plus, we're going to be doing some giveaways as well. That's right, prizes. People love prizes.
It'll be a ton of fun. Join us.
Tell us where they can find the podcast.
All right, it is eatthisTwinCities.com, or you can check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/eatthisTwinCities.
So, until next time, eat this, Twin Cities!
And we're back. What did Tom want?
It's private, I can't say.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I have to respect that.
Well, the strange thing is I turned my ringer off and it still rang through, so he's...
It's like at the
Top
White House,
secret.
they have like the red phone.
Right.
It's like that. He can put. I'm sure he's got the technology to do that. Tom Cruise.
So I went, as you know, because you didn't come with, I went and saw the Twins in Kansas City over the 4th. Should have won all 4.
We should have. We only got 2, though.
Got 2. But I don't know. They might be for real.
Well, you look at what they did right before the All-Star break. I'm not going to say weekend because I know how I feel about that. The break.
No, that was the weekend.
No, but
Thursday,
what
Friday.
they did before the break.
Right.
Their last 7 games were against the Orioles and the Tigers. The Tigers, I know they've been slumping a little bit this year, but you cannot deny how the talent they have. And the Orioles are a team that's they're hanging around. They're not great this year, but they might sneak a wild card spot if they can pull it together. Anyways, point of that, they took 6 of 7, and that was huge going into the break because the Royals did nothing but win games down the stretch there too. But like you said, I think in their last 11 games. They only lost 3, and 2 of those 3 losses were to the Royals, who have the best record in the AL, which I think is ridiculous. I don't think the Royals are that good. But
with the Royals, well, they're not that good. And last year, I'm not going to ever say a team that got to the World Series and was probably 1 out away from winning it lucky.
The tying run on second, I believe, in the bottom
Might have
of the
been
ninth,
third.
on the bottom of the ninth to win.
But everything went their way last year.
They didn't know. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
to a point where they were almost eliminated. They had to play the play-in game. That game, they were almost eliminated. The Twins, they're not. I don't think they're getting as many breaks, but they seem to be figuring things out, sort of like Kansas City did last year.
well, you look at. I mean, and it bugs me when I read articles and I listen to people talk about the Twins because they reference all these stats and they're like the Twins shouldn't be winning. Blah blah blah. It's like, well, they are, and give them some credit for it. I don't think I have read an article this year that has been except written by ESPN obviously we'll talk positive about them because they're winning. But when you read outside things, especially things that reference advanced statistics and everything, they just tear them apart and they're like, it's not going to last. And it's like, well, you've been saying that all season, and they're 9 games above 500 with the second best record in the AL and would be leading any other AL division. And are in the wild card by a significant margin. It's like you got to give them some credit at some point. Yeah, they're not the best. They don't score the most runs in the AL. Yeah, they don't have the best pitching staff. But I think that's because of how they win games. They don't win games 15-2. That's not these Twins. It's 4-2 here, 5-3 there. But when they lose, it's because one of their starters had a bad game and they lose 10-2.
Or Mauer grounded into 3 double plays, or Hunter, or struck out. I mean, we don't really have a superstar.
No. Except Dozier.
Now, Dozier is close, and obviously the All-Star game, he hit a home run. But Dozier, superstars hit 320, 20-some home runs, 80 RBI. Well, Dozier's hitting 2,
He's going to hit probably 35 home runs and have over 100 RBI.
Right, so then he'll be, but he's still, if you're batting 250, if he
260
gets the
batting,
batting average up, he's probably borderline superstar.
I completely.
It's not a bad thing.
No, I completely agree. But that's if you look at the Royals last year, that's what they were like too. You can't pick one player on the team and be like, now he was the guy.
Well, and I think Molitor, I think Gardenhire was not a very good manager.
I think the players kind of lost faith in him down the stretch too. I think they stopped caring, stopped listening to him because it was the same old thing with him.
He's going to play the younger guys. Before, we never would bring the younger guys up because we were afraid to pay them or whatever the case was, with the service hours. We're bringing them up. They're playing. They got Rosario, who they didn't think anything of. He's playing well. Mm-hmm. Santana's back, and I think he's going to start hitting well. I don't know if he's necessarily a shortstop, but
he's not.
Now Hicks is on fire.
He's not the long-term answer at shortstop.
He's a good center fielder, but we have one.
In 6 years, 5-6 years. Well, I know this is way down the road, but in the next, I guess I shouldn't even go that far. He will be a very good utility player to have. Because he'll get hot and someone will get hurt and he'll be perfect to plug in at shortstop, in center. He could probably play left. He could probably play second. He can play most positions. He's a decent hitter. He's a good guy to have in the 9 spot. But he's not a permanent answer in any position.
So I was, as you know from last time, I have sources. And I was talking to him this morning, knowing I was coming here.
Right.
And just for the record, I told you my sources told me Dwayne Wade would be re-signing within 2 days with the Heat. And exactly 2 days later, he re-signed with the Heat. So take this for what it's worth. But the new backup catcher for the Minnesota Twins, you ready?
Sure.
A.J. Przinsky. He's coming.
Think so?
Yep.
It'll be interesting because a lot of people weren't too fond of AJ when he left.
Yeah, but they were fond of him when he was here.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, only the players. His teammates hated him.
Yeah, the teammates him, and I think when he left, fans weren't. When he went to play for the White Sox, whoever, and
Hunter liked him. That's my sources tell me that he could be our backup catcher.
I don't see why
I don't
not.
think that's going to take us to the World Series.
No.
I just forgot. I needed to tell you that.
Okay. That would be kind of fun, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Again, it's who knows? Who knows what'll happen with him?
Well, Sano, I mean, he's unbelievable.
I think he's reached base in all but one game so far. He's batting .380 almost now. He's got a slugging percentage over 600.
Which, if you stop, so the guy's been in Double-A. I mean, how do they not know this out of spring training?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You think that with a lot of these guys that come up,
And now
it's like,
Hicks.
what were they waiting for? Well, I think Hicks knows he's on borrowed time and he's clearly like playing like it.
Yeah, he can smell Buxton's breath on his neck. He knows he's
And Rosario's for that matter, because you got to assume once Buxton came up, Hicks at least had a shot to play left or right, and now Rosario's batting .270 and playing well, and now Hicks is he's the odd man out kind of.
So eventually, we're going to need a first baseman and a right fielder. I think we need a first. Mauer, I know he's starting to kind of. He's up to a whopping 6 home runs, all the left field. No, that's not true.
He's also getting kind of old.
Actually, when I was in Kansas City, I can't remember I believe it was the 4th of July game. He just crushed one to right field right in front of me, pulled it. And that series, he was like 9 for.
He did play
it was unbelievable.
well.
They couldn't
against
stop
Kansas
him.
City. No, he was he. You never know. I hate to say you never know what you're going to get out of him because you really should know what you're going to get out of someone like that, a guy you pay that much money, but you don't. He'll go a week, 2 weeks, like you said, grounding into 2 double plays a game and striking out and everything. And he'll turn around the next 2 weeks. He'll bat .450 with 3 home runs. You never know when you're going to get what.
So now we got all these young guys. So why don't we take Arcia, who's never going to play on our team, a couple other guys, a couple of the other garbage pitchers, put a package together, and go get Cole Hamels or somebody.
I think as crazy as it's going to sound, I think starting pitching is like 3rd on our list of things.
I understand.
We clearly need a bullpen arm. And
Yeah.
there's so many of those out there. We should be able to trade.
Shack.
We should be able to trade Arcia.
That's actually a player's name. It wasn't.
I know he's from here.
Yeah.
Pat.
Neshek.
Shek. It's an E. Between Arcia and even Vargas kind of sucks now. We got 900 other guys in our
Right.
farm system who people would want.
Let's go get. My
a
thing. with
bullpen arm and, like you said, like a power hitting right fielder, or at least just a good hitting.
Well,
right
we got
fielder.
Hunter. We're not going to get rid of him.
Well, but he's 39. How
yeah,
much
but-
belongs are you going to play?
Yeah, but then what happens to the discos after the game in the locker room? You got to keep Hunter. But here's my
He can
point.
coach. He's a KG. Give him a 2-year deal. If he doesn't want to play the second year, he can coach.
Here's my point with the starting pitcher. It's almost. I'm not even sure we need him. Everyone needs him. But for once, we actually would go and do something instead of letting guys go. It would show that the team, the community, the fans, Twins Nation. I don't know what they
Twins
call it.
territory.
Twins territory. I don't care. It would at least show that we're trying something. So just try it once. Go get somebody.
I agree. We need to go get somebody, but I don't
When we-
think you just go get a starting pitcher just to go get somebody.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
something you
no.
get some value out of. And then maybe in the offseason we can try and sign somebody.
well,
but
what's it going to hurt?
it's going to hurt us not being able to get someone else we actually need. Like a more important need, like a bullpen guy.
Back in the day, we you wouldn't remember this. We needed a hitter. We got Don Baylor. He carried us through.
Yeah, and what we need a bullpen arm.
We
And,
need somebody. We don't. I guess my thing is we don't do that anymore. We don't.
Well, yeah,
make
we
the
don't
moves.
do that. We haven't in forever. I was curious the other day. I was actually just I went back and looked at moves the Twins have made at the deadline.
Jordan
and
Schaefer.
There wasn't a
guys
single one. There wasn't a single one worth noting.
Yeah, we pick up guys like that. No offense to Jordan Schaefer if you're listening, but those are the kind of moves we make. So, I think you go get.
Well, and I think now that all these young guys are starting to do well, I think Terry Ryan is probably a little nervous to deal the other guys. I think these young guys doing well while helping the team might hurt
I've got an idea.
them as trade pieces.
I've got an idea. We can deal Terry Ryan
I wouldn't mind.
and then get somebody else to make the other deals.
I wouldn't mind.
Now, granted, the pushback will be, well, look how good they're doing this year. Well, it has nothing to do with him.
No. It has nothing to do with him. When you have that many high draft picks, you can't screw them all up.
Look at the Wild at the trade deadline. The last few years, they always picked up a piece that got everyone excited. I mean, no, we did not win the Stanley Cup, but it got everyone. It was a big.
No, I'm with you.
created a buzz.
We're finally contending again. We have a chance. We need to do something of note. Whether it's go get a relief pitcher, go get one more starting pitcher, and then we can move, insert starting pitcher here to the bullpen, which would help our bullpen. They moved Trevor May to the bullpen. He's been great out there. So when we got Santana back, if we can get another starting pitcher, we can move one of them to the bullpen. And then if we do make it somehow into the playoffs, we can. I know Santana will be on the deal, but we can put out whoever we get. It'd probably be Hughes, I guess if we go with 4 pitchers, it'd probably be whoever we get: Hughes, Malone, and Gibson. And that's a pretty solid rotation.
Then we can get Nolasco back in. There's 4 guys in that bullpen that I wouldn't even place in a 15-year-old game.
No.
Some dude named Bauer or whatever.
Boyer. Blaine Boyer. Well, they sent Thompson down, thank God. I couldn't watch him pitch.
He was better than Boyer, Bauer.
Yeah, but he was... they were both awful. The problem was Boyer just had pitched more.
That is a problem. Those guys, and Dunsing, I think, is teetering on.
He's
being
gotten
done.
better. He was awful at the beginning of the year. He's been better.
And Casey Fiend, I'm not so sure.
No.
He's hot and cold, but
we have to have, and they have so far. That's why we've done pretty well. Our pitchers have to go
right
into the 7th inning for us to have a chance.
We don't have a setup, man.
No, we don't even have a bullpen. I mean, we have. I don't understand that JT Graham guy, the guy that wears the stirrups.
I hate that.
Well, I know, but I need you to move past that for a second. They never pitch him.
It's because of the stirrups.
But I don't think he's that bad. He's better than those other doofuses.
If he put his pants down normal, they'd pitch him more.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it goes well with the facial hair, though.
It's yeah.
They do have the Twins logo on him, though. It's kind of cool. I will say.
Yeah, because they used to.
It is kind of cool.
All right, so we need bullpen.
I think a bullpen
I'd still
arm
get
is
a
probably
starter.
need one. I think it's clear if we want to succeed, bullpen arm is need one. It's not the flashiest thing. It's not the best. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. But it's like if you know baseball and you pay attention, everyone who talks about the Twins, their bullpen's awful. They need to figure that out. I agree with you. And then after that, we have a couple different ones. Another starting pitcher obviously would never hurt anybody. There's guys out there who aren't number one guys that we have a chance to get there. I mean,
Cole
Hamels, Samardzija gets traded every 2 years. We could have a chance at him. Cueto. Who else? God, I was just thinking about a couple different guys. Cueto just lit us up 2 weeks ago.
Johnny.
Yeah, he got fat at some point. I don't know when. He put on all of a sudden, I was watching him pitch again.
When you get older, that tends to happen. I don't know if you know that.
I wouldn't know yet. I'm not old.
Well, you're getting older.
Well, that's true. And I think I agree with you. Hunter has played great, and I would never say to get rid of him, but we will need a right fielder at some point, and we will never go get him. It'll never happen. But Justin Upton was an all-star. He's on a San Diego team that did a lot in the offseason and is terrible. He's on the block, and if we can put an outfield out there and I know Rosario and Buxton and Hicks have been playing well, but if you can put an outfield out there that's Hicks or Buxton, and then Upton and Hunter, in a year or two, Rosario will have his chance again because Hunter will be gone, and then we have no complaint.
Matt Kemp.
Okay, it's the same thing. Kemp, any guys like that. I just thought of Justin Upton because he was in the All-Star game, and they're talking about how he's probably going to get traded.
Right.
There's a lot, corner outfielders, there's a lot of good ones that probably will get dealt. And Justin Upton was the first one that came to mind. Matt Kemp's another one. Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies.
There was a rumor, my sources, but that Carlos Gomez was maybe coming back.
I did see that as well, but he's not the answer.
Have the Timberwolves named a new head coach yet?
No, they probably should soon.
Because Saunders needs to.
I think. Well, we'll give one final prediction for the Twins.
All right.
What do you think? Give me record. Do they make a move at the deadline? If so, what is it? And do they make the playoffs?
I think they will finish 7 games over 500. and they will miss the wild card by 5 games.
Do you think they do anything at the deadline, or do you think they just do what they always do? Okay.
They'll try to do something at the deadline. They just can't find the right mix. That's what we're going to hear.
Okay. They can't make the deal.
Just,
I'm going to go. I'm going to go 4 games over 500. And I'm trying to think what the wild card spots are at.
Well, right now we're the top wild card.
I know. I think more hopeful. I'm not even going to go think because I'm not so sure this would work. I'm going to go 4 games over 500. They make the second wild card spot, and they trade for some reliever at the deadline no one's ever heard of.
He'll be left-handed too, I'm sure.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
39-year-old, and then we'll move on because this is what the Twins do. He will have only had 2 Tommy John surgeries because we don't actually ever sign pitchers that weren't hurt or trade for pitchers that at some point didn't have to have their arm put back on.
Yeah, that's true.
So we don't really need to talk. Isn't Timberwolves? It's quiet.
Let's talk for just literally a minute here. I'm looking at the clock. It's I got right now. I'm going to start. I'm going to talk for a minute. I went to the whole camp open scrimmage thing. I have 3 things to say about it. One, there were more people there than they have had for a home game in a long time. People are excited, and that's exciting for a fan.
Right.
Levine looks 10 times better than he did last year. He can actually handle the ball. He can shoot. He can play some defense now. He's not just the guy that can dunk. He looks a lot better. Towns, I think we're getting what we think we're getting. He's a little raw offensively down the post, but he can step out and shoot. And he's a great defender. The last thing I want to say is a guy who I think is going to put good minutes in for us as a role player is Adrian Payne, the guy who went to Michigan State, kind of floundered with the Hawks. But I've watched him. I think we can put a lineup out there that's Rubio, Levine, Wiggins, Payne, and Towns, and those 5 guys will run the floor and space the floor and step out and hit jump shots just as good as any. And I'm not saying we're going to win games with them, but just as good as any other team in the league. That was a minute.
We got to get rid of Bloody Divac, or whatever that guy's name. What's that big guy?
Pekovic?
Yeah, he needs to go.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
They're all the same. I mean,
between Towns, Jang, this Adrian Payne guy that we don't, and we need to get rid of. I think Pekovic is probably on borrowed time. But we need to get something for him. We can't just dish him off. We need to get something. I know we won't get a lot, but
so Caitlyn Jenner, should she have worn white or red?
I leave the fashion decisions to you.
I say she looked good. So the ESPYs, highest rated ESPYs ever.
I was on ABC. I think that's a skewed statistic.
Well, here's the problem.
On ESPN.
We're going to talk about it, but my one major problem with having it on ABC, way too many commercials.
Well, on ESPN, it was about sports, and it's still obviously kind of about sports, but ABC, they're plugging movies, they're plugging shows.
A lot of people were not happy that she/he, or he/she, I guess it would be, got the Courage Award. But I think after listening to her speech, I think not everyone, because some people are never going to change, but I think people realized that it was probably the right thing. She delivered a great message.
I don't think anybody would dispute that Caitlyn Jenner was deserving. I think people just thought she wasn't the most deserving.
Well, I've never put a dress on, but I think if I went in front of 37 million people for the first time in a dress, it takes some courage.
No, I know. I'm not arguing with you about that. I think
the heels would be. No, anyways, go ahead.
Like you said, she was a huge figure in sports,
right?
And now she's a huge figure for social advancement with other things. I think.
Well, let's put it this way: she has gone through a lot. She's happy now, or feeling better now. Being on her special, which is coming out, isn't going to get the word out because everyone hates that stuff. You go to a sports show like that's respected. You give the speech she gave, and I think her message was good.
No, I agree.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like I said, I think she did deserve it. And I know there are so many, courageous people who are related to sports. I think the ESPYs does as good of a job as they can. They give out a lot of different, like service-related awards. You're not going to get everybody. And I think right now, with everything going on, Caitlyn Jenner probably was the right choice. I know there are one of the other nominee might even be the right word, was a man. I can't remember his name. He's a veteran. He was in Iraq, I believe, or Afghanistan, one of the two. Lost an arm and a leg, and now runs like triathlons and marathons and stuff like that to raise money for veterans and things like that.
Right.
And a lot of people are outraged because people say what he did allows Caitlyn Jenner to do what she did.
Well, that's true, but
it's
not the
he's
military
not
awards, and they did honor a military.
Exactly. I think it's
what I would say is if she would have made it about her, then it would have been the wrong choice.
It clearly was not.
She
about
did
her.
not make it about her. Now, on another note, the person I was probably the most impressed with that night, and I've heard her speak a couple other times, Abby Wambach. Okay, her.
Yes.
I thought she was unbelievable.
No, she's always been very, especially coming off the World Cup win.
Did they win?
I think so. Yeah, no, they won.
They did. Okay.
Yeah, that was cool. That was exciting. I think having her speak was a very wise decision.
She's good
having
at it.
her introduce, especially coming right off the World Cup win, what she means to that community. And then with women's, them winning, with Ronda Rousey being so popular.
Did you hear what she said about Floyd Mayweather?
Oh, that was pretty sweet. I did kind of like that. I do. I know this isn't popular. I do kind of like Floyd Mayweather. I think he's kind of. I do. He does entertain me. I do like him.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool what she said.
Dude,
She said, "How's it feel to get beat by a woman for once?"
Right.
Which
On a very, we're talking socially, pretty serious subjects, but on a not so serious subject, can you explain to me how LeBron James can win best performance in a championship or whatever? They didn't win.
we talked about this last time. You cannot. I understand they didn't win, but it wasn't his fault.
Well, whose fault was it?
The rest of the Cavaliers, that team was awful.
How can you win an award for a championship performance when you didn't win the championship? Why would Steph
I'm going to
Curry?
tell you in a second. Keep talking.
I know he's got good stats. He's got the ball in his hand all the time.
It wasn't best winning, but it was just best.
What did he win?
He didn't win anything. That's what I'm saying.
He won an ESPY.
Well, yeah, because he I'm trying to think if I can find the
Best championship performance. Hello, they didn't win.
32 points, 40, 20, 40, 39, 44.
Don't care.
18, 14, 12, 12, 16, 8 were his rebound numbers.
Congratulations.
9, 11, 8, 8, 11, 6 were his assist numbers.
Wonderful. Fatal flaw. He has the ball. He has the ball in his hands all the time. And I'm not saying he's bad. This isn't a knock on him. He had a great. He didn't win a championship performance. How about what's her name? Carly Lloyd got a hat trick in the most prestigious game in their sport. In a game where you can barely get a goal, she got 3.
It is again. It's fan voted.
Well,
And the voting and a lot of the voting happened before that happened.
well, then Kenny Mayne, Chris Berman, Scott Van Pelt, Hannah Storm, and the rest, they should be voting then.
Well, that's it's a completely different issue.
But you can't tell me the guy lost. He did not contribute to winning a championship. And he had a
led
great.
every player in the finals in points, rebounds, and assists.
So why didn't he win the MVP?
Because, like you said, they lost, and there'd be some outrage that they lost. But
There's outrage that he won the ESPY.
But it was best championship performance. You can't be the most valuable player to a losing team, but you can still have an amazing performance in spite of a loss.
So if the Oregon player played really well, she should get the best performance?
Well, no, because it
was in the championship game. The music was great. That's ridiculous.
You're being ridiculous with the whole Oregon thing. Come on.
The synthesizer. I know they don't use organs
I
anymore.
know. Come on.
DJ? What's the mascot if he has a great performance? That doesn't make any sense. It should contribute to winning. I'm not saying he didn't play well. He played great.
I think the award is best championship performance.
They invited him and they had to give him something. That's what happened.
What do you mean they had people voted?
We don't know that.
I voted.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of voting, I goofed up.
Okay.
We were going to have a poll question: best sporting movie ever, and then we were going to give the results at the end of the show. And now the show's almost over. We'll have to do that next time. So think about it for next time. Best sporting movie ever.
I mean, I know mine.
Well, what is it?
Space Jam.
Space Jam?
Yeah. It's the highest grossing basketball movie ever. Ever.
Space Jam.
Yeah.
What about Bad News Bears? That was kind of the beginning of it. Well, there was Rocky. They won an Academy Award.
Space Jam should have won an Academy Award.
It was Bugs Bunny. It was cartoons. You can't give Bugs Bunny an Academy Award.
There's an Academy Award for Best Animated Film.
There is?
Yes.
But it wasn't totally animated.
Well, I'm not saying it should have won that one. I'm just saying you
all right.
can give Academy Awards to a cartoon movie.
Well, for all of our listeners, they can chime in. Best sports movie ever. I mean, Space Jam was good.
I would say basketball movies are more often than not like the best sports movies. I think if you look back, like the best movies normally with sports are normally about basketball. There's some good baseball ones, but
The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, that was pretty good. That's a basketball one.
Tin Cup. I'm a
J.
big Tin Cup guy.
What about boxing?
Yeah, but
They're sort of
they're
all
so
the same.
yeah. The boxing ones are
You
kind
know
of
what was
all
a good
the same.
sports movie? The Wrestler.
I actually never saw it.
And by the way, is golf really a sport? Because you said best sporting movie, Tin Cup. Is golf a sport?
I think so. There's competition. It takes talent. I mean, what else would it be if it's not a sport?
Is chess a sport?
No, it's a game. Well, I guess they're all games.
It's a competition. It takes talent.
It takes athletic. You know.
Really?
I think golf. There is.
How
a
athletic
sport.
is John Daly?
Not very athletic. I mean,
I can play golf. I don't, but I can. Just wondering.
I think golf. The whole is it a sport argument is probably my least favorite argument of all
Oh,
time.
I'm sorry to bring up.
I hate when people is that? It's like what happens with like cheerleading. People who's cheerleading is sport. It's like that's like.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't really care. It's.
So we can only talk about things you care about?
No, I'm just saying it doesn't matter if it's a sport or not. You can't.
Well, I didn't say that we need an answer and we needed to get rid of it if it's not. I'm curious. When you talk about sports, is golf a sport? Is rowing a sport?
I think rowing's a sport.
Okay. And maybe golf is a sport.
But there's no like. I guess I could Google the definition for sport. But I don't know the definition. Well, maybe they don't have it. They're not going to give it to me. I just think is something a sport? How do you define a sport?
That's what I want to know.
You know, I think an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. That's golf.
I get to the first hole. I swing and hit a ball.
You got to walk 18 holes. That's
and
not
now
easy.
I walk to my ball, and I hit it again. And then I walk to my ball, and I hit it again. Oh, wait, this time there's some sand.
You have to walk 3-4 miles on a golf course.
It's not a
It's not a lot of physical exertion.
It's not a constant walk.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a little less physical exertion than other sports, but then you could say football there's only or baseball, it's a better example. You only actually physically exert yourself a total of 4 minutes in a game. So then is that a sport because it's not that much physical? You probably have more physical exertion in a round of golf than you do in a 9-inning baseball game.
But I think when it's individual like that, that's where it's a little fuzzy for me.
Just because you don't have a team, it doesn't make it a sport.
I'm not.
So does that make the Ryder Cup a sport, but the Masters not a sport?
No, it's still golf.
Well, then the whole individual thing shouldn't matter.
However, the Ryder Cup is very popular, probably because it's a team event.
Well, I think it goes back to we were talking about the home run derby thing. When you match one guy up against another guy, it makes everything more exciting. Same thing with boxing. Boxing's it's man on man.
Boxing is just professional wrestling. They just don't admit that it's fixed. That's the only difference.
Well, they actually hit each other.
Sometimes.
It's professional wrestling, but they actually hit each other. I can't look at a boxing match
Sometimes.
and someone with a boxing title and not think how they just handed him that. I guess
Really?
that's probably the professional wrestling fan in me that thinks that. But
Let's see. The two guys just made about 7.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I can't look at Floyd Mayweather with his 3 belts and be like I always think to myself.
He's only got 2.
Well, now he's got none.
Oh, they took him all
They
the
took
way?
them all away.
Okay.
I think, but I can't look at him and be like someone didn't just give him that. That's what I think. I think it might be the wrestling fan in me thinking that.
Well, I know it's fixed. I just
Well, it's
they
clearly fixed. You know, there's no.
I'm sure there's boxing people out there that'll tell me different.
Well, there's a ton of people out there that'll tell you different about a lot of things, but you know,
So that means
most people would say that boxing is fixed.
So we'll say golf is a sport.
I think golf's a sport.
We can go with that.
Before we end, we're running out of time. We talked the last 30 seconds or a minute, something you told me I thought was pretty cool. The Wild and the Blackhawks have the Stadium Series game this coming year. And before the game, they're going to have kind of an old-timer scrimmage between old North Stars and Blackhawks. I think that's a pretty cool thing. I think that'll be fun.
Neil Broughton, Mike Modano, Dino Cicerelli. He will be wearing pants, but that's a... They told him he had to.
That makes sense.
Because it didn't go well last time. But that's Basil McRae, number 17.
I think it'll be fun. And I know we'll never get the North Stars name back, but I hope I love the Wild, don't get me wrong. It's kind of a lame name.
The Wild? I don't like
Wild.
their colors.
I think green is, I like the green jerseys, but it's just
The all green are nice.
Yeah.
I don't like the red
the-
ones.
I don't know. I love the Wild, but I think
But then we'd have to get the Lakers back.
well, no, because I kind of like the Timberwolves. Timberwolves is kind of cool. The Lakers shouldn't. I mean, at this point, the Lakers are the Los Angeles Lakers. There's no changing that.
You know the Timberwolves live in the Wild.
Well, yeah.
So it kind of...
Well, I understand why we're the Wild. I just said I don't really like it. I think we could have done better.
You've got a lot of issues.
I
Some
hold
are
people to
angers.
high standards, and I think we could have done better than the Wild. I will say the logo is pretty cool, though. I do like the logo.
We could have been the Freeze,
That would have been dumb.
the Chill.
Dumb.
So come up with something better.
Well, I'm not saying I'm the guy to come up with it. I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to come up with a
the
sports team's
Bobcat.
name.
I think it was a contest
Well, contests, and you know this, never end with the right winner.
because they already know what it's going to be. from the
Exactly. They're
beginning.
going to pick whatever. There's someone, yeah. But I like the logo. The logo's cool. The whole wild background within the bear head, fox.
Well,
head,
you
whatever
understand they
it is.
couldn't have the logo without the name.
Well, no, I understand. but
Which
I'm
came
saying-
first, the logo or the name? The
That's a
name.
good point.
No,
Yes.
the name.
That was probably the name. But on that note, we're going to send it off here. It was
We're going?
I think so.
We're
I think
done already?
It's been an hour.
It has.
It has.
Wow.
Hopefully they don't lock us out next time.
No, or lock us in. Then we'd have to keep going.
That wouldn't be the worst thing. I could keep going. Dad,
Really? Drew.
it's a good one.
Wait, I can't say bye-bye because last time I was told that was
Yeah,
bad.
say something. Say
I don't-
something
I don't
else
have
to
a
send us off.
Why? What can I don't have a send-off.
You got nothing.
I thought I had it last time, and I was ridiculed by everyone. So I'm
I'll
gonna leave
carry
it
it
up
as
to you.
usual.
All right, let's start over. Drew.
Dad.
See, I froze. I'm done.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Apples to Apples. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Everybody knows this is how the story goes. She knows she's